Hello everyone, myself Mrs. Chetna Patel from LP Savani Vidya Bhavan Adajan branch. In this teaching learning process of English, today we are going to cover the topic of figures of speech. Now, first of all, what is a figure of speech? A figure of speech is a departure from ordinary form of expression or the ordinary course of ideas in order to produce a greater effect. Students, in a more simpler form, a figure of speech is a creation of a special effect by the poet to draw the attention of the reader. Now, students, you see the language being used by the poet is different. At times, you see certain ideas or the words are being repeated. At times, you see the poet use the rhyming words and all. Now, all these are being used to create an special effect as well as to catch the attention of the reader. So, these are called as figures of speech. Now, moving forward, we will start one by one. First one, alliteration. Alliteration, this is the easiest one and the most common one. What is alliteration? Now, alliteration means there is a repetition of a consonant sound, especially in the beginning of the words. I repeat, it's a repetition of a consonant sound, especially in the beginning of the words. Now, for example, now I have taken the example from the poem which we have completed, most of them, for a better understanding. Example is, some say the world will end in fire. Now, in this line, particular line, you will see the word S and W is repeated. S is repeated in some and say, and W is repeated in world and will. So, the figure of speech in this line is alliteration because there is a repetition of a consonant sound in the beginning of the word. Now, students, one more thing I would like to tell you all that a one line can have more number of figure of speech, right? It is not necessary that it may have only one, but one line can have more number of figure of speech. Okay, moving on with the second one, repetition. This is also a very easiest one. There is a, what is repetition? There is a repetition of words and phrases to increase the musical effect. Now again with example there, some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. Now here also you can see the word some and say are being repeated by the poet to produce a musical effect, and that is the reason the figure of speech in this line is repetition. I hope I'm clear with you all. Okay, moving on to the next, the third one, that is antithesis. Now, what is this antithesis? Antithesis means where the opposite or the contrast ideas are used for the poetic effect. Okay, I will go with the same example written above. Now again you see the lines there. Some say the world will end in fire and some say in ice. Now see the word I have circled it, fire and ice. Both are opposite. That means fire and ice. They are contrasting ideas. So they are being used by the poet to create a poetic effect. And that is why the figure of speech in this line is antithesis. Okay. Now moving on further. Fourth one. Fourth one is personification. Now, what is this personification? Now, in this figure of speech, where inanimate objects or non living things are given human qualities. Okay, for better understanding, we'll go with the example there. For example, the sun above the mountain's head. Now, see the line over here, mountain's head. Here, the mountain is said to be having a head. That means the mountain is given a human quality of having a head, and that is why the figure of speech in this line is personification. Is it clear with that? Okay. Okay, now moving forward, the next one is tautology. Now, what is this tautology? Tautology means unnecessary use of words or ideas which do not add to the meaning. That means unnecessary use of words which have the same meaning also. Okay. Now, for example, why all this toil and trouble? Now you can see I have made an arrow and have written what does this toil and trouble means. The toil and trouble means struggle, and that is why it has the same meaning, which does not add any meaning to the sentences there. Okay, so the figure of speech in this line is tautology, because the both the words have the same meaning. Now, as I've said that the one line can have more number of figure of speech, so I would like to point it out over here. Now here you can see the alphabet T is been repeated. Okay, so the figure of speech in this line can be alliteration also, because the consonant sound of T is repeated in toil and trouble there. Right? Okay, fine. Moving on further, the next one, that is the sixth one, is transferred epithet. First of all, what is an epithet? Epithet means an adjective. Okay, now in this figure of speech, the epithet or an adjective is transferred from its original noun to another closely related to it. Okay, now what does it mean? I'll explain you with the example there. Now see the example over here. The old man on the lone highway. Okay, this is a line from the poem. Now what do you mean? Lone means actually alone. Okay, now why I've underlined the word lone? It's an adjective. Now lone highway, see, a highway which is a path which cannot be alone. Actually, who is alone? It's an the old man. Okay, so the adjective lone is being transferred from the old man to highway, and that is why it is called as transferred epithet. Okay, is it clear with that? Moving, okay, moving on further, the seventh one, that is metonymy. Now, what is this metonymy? Now, in this, an attribute or a thing is represented by another closely related to it. In other words, if there is any hidden meaning in the lines, the in that particular line, the figure of speech will be metonymy. Okay. Again, I have taken the lines from the poem Fire and Ice. For example, thus, some say the world will end in fire. So you can see the word fire I have underlined. Now, here the word actually fire represents desire. Desire means the wants of the human being. Okay. As I've told you in the poem also, that fire is just an element, but actually it represents desire. And that is why the figure of speech in this line is metonymy. Okay, the hidden meaning here, that is the fire represents desire. Okay, is it clear with that? Okay, moving on to the next one. Now we are see the spelling as well as the pronunciation. Onomatopoeia. Now onomatopoeia, Onomatopoeia. Now what is that onomatopoeia? It's very easy. Onomatopoeia means use of words which produce sound or echo for the poetic effect. In a very simple words, sound producing words. Okay, I've given an example over here. And suddenly the baby begins to cry. So the cry, that action produces sound. Okay, I've given a few example of onomatopic words also, like clattering, clapping, zooming, screeching of brakes, zooming of bikes, etc. Okay, so the sound producing words are called as onomatopoeia. Okay, fine. Okay, moving on to the next one, simile. It's not smile, simile, Simile. Now what is the simile? Now, in this figure of speech, there is a direct comparison between two unlike objects, and words like and as are used for comparison. Okay. Now, for the better understanding, we will go with the example given below. Now, see the example there. The camel is like the sheep of the desert. Now you can see the word like is used for comparison. Yes. Now what is been compared? The camel and the ship. The camel is compared with the ship. Okay. Where one is a living thing, the other one is a non-living thing. Okay, that is what this. So here the camel is been compared with a ship, and the word like is used for comparison, and that is why the figure of speech in this line is known as simile, because a direct comparison is made between two unlike object, that is the object called it camel and the ship there. Okay, so is it clear with this? Okay, so that's all there for today's class. Thank you. Have a nice day.